In this week's episode, we talk about quitting in business, managing cash flow, and stewarding our wealth for the Lord. Hi, and welcome to episode 35 of Business Greenhouse TV. You know, we're in the seminar room today. We've got our year 2 clients in. We are going deep into their marketing. We are looking at, Facebook, AdWords, strategic alliances, and we're just creating 2 whole days of going deep and executing and building their businesses with me in this room. We had a whole bunch of fun. We've been filming intro videos, filming webpage videos, and just getting the job done. So we're having a great time. That's why we're in here today. Let's get into today's question. Paul, what's our first question today?
Vanessa Cork asks, how do you know if it's the right time to shut up shop?
Vanessa, that's a solid question. When do we know when it's time to shut up shop and to leave it alone? I'm going to answer it from 2 very different viewpoints. If we're talking business in general, it's never time to shut up shop. Like if you're called to business, and how do you know you're called to business? Because you're currently in one. If you're in one, you've got to rely on the fact that God's sovereign and He got you there. You're called to business. If you're in business, you never shut up shop. Like that is the assignment on your life between now and the day that you die and go to heaven. That's it. You actually never shut up shop in terms of business. Like I can't imagine, like take the Apostle Paul. Yes, his was ministry, ours is business, but he got the prophetic word. You'll take the gospel to Caesar. He didn't get halfway through and go, oh, well, this is a bit tough. I've been flogged. I've been in prison. I've been spat on. This is all a bit too hard. I'm going to quit. He didn't do that. Jesus didn't kind of go, oh, well, it gets to the cross, bit of pain. Listen, I'm done with this. I want to hop down. Like these people pushed on through. Take Joshua. Joshua just before the promised land, the promise that he'd had all those years, military man, you will go to the promised land. The battle that preceded the promised land was the hardest one of them all. It was King Og. The men were 13 feet. They were the scariest warriors. Like it's going to be tough. Okay, so in terms of business, it's never time to shut up shop. Like we need entrepreneurs to go through all of the trials, to ride the ups and downs, to produce the war chest, to keep the kingdom going and to keep the kingdom moving. So that's one side of it. In terms of business, you never shut up shop. In terms of the actual product and service that you're in at the time, that one I wouldn't be so romantic about, okay? Can you make a customer pay you for it? That's all I'm ever interested in. Can I get a customer to pay me for the product and service once? If I can do it once, can I do it twice, 4 times, 8 times? And then is there the opportunity to scale that to make it an asset? Yes, no. And in that particular case, when we're talking about the little product or service and not being in business generally, then I'm like, if it's going to fail, I want it to fail quickly. So my own personal view is you push at it until enough time that you've proven the concept. Will someone part with their cash for your products and services? If the answer is yes, keep going. If the answer is no, find something else. But it's always a game of correcting. When the GFC hit, some people's entire businesses fell over, but they didn't. They just went and found another income stream and went and grew it. So if we're always adjusting to the market feedback, we're always going to find a product that works. If we're always going to find a product that works, then we can do business for the long game, okay? So yes, in terms of the product, like push at it until you have given it the best of your ability to prove you're doing all the marketing, all the stuff that we teach. If you do that until the point where people will pay you, excellent, keep going. If you do that, you're doing all of the work and they won't pay you, find something else, but you can't leave business. Solid question. Question number 2.
Alex Lau asks, how do you manage cash flow? Do you ever go into overdraft?
Alex, great question, and we've talked a little bit about this in different ways, but I always want to keep revisiting these core kind of questions about money and stuff like that. There's a few keys to how I manage cash flow. Like I personally would always keep 6 months of expenses and tax in the account at any one time. 3 to 6 months, I think, is a minimum you've got to be aiming for. And I do that because when a BAS rolls around, you've got the money, okay? So every quarter when you've got to put in your business activity statement or your quarterly tax report, then you've got the money there, okay? So the only reason why I do that is it takes the pressure off. You know, when some expenses come in, you have the money, you can pay for it, you know, and so forth. So I think that's, if you're not there, that's got to be the aim. You've got to get to that 3 to 6 months worth of general expenses and taxes in the account, siphoned off, and then that just makes life a little bit easier. So you've got to get to that point, I think, first. Do I ever use, I mean, I don't personally use an overdraft, but should you go into overdraft? Yes, if you have to, okay? Like, that's the purpose of an overdraft. My concern that I keep coming back to is what's the reason why somebody would have to go into an overdraft? Like, you only want to be using your overdraft for the sake of buying customers. You don't mind going into debt as long as you're using it for customer acquisition, because it's going to be the thing that pays off in time, which means you can pay back the debt. If you're going into overdraft because there's a fundamental problem with the business, you need to address the problem, not just fix it with an overdraft, okay? So that's really, like, I want to keep banging that drum. Too many people use debt to fix a problem instead of actually fixing the problem. Now, it's okay to use debt, but make sure if there's a problem in the business, you fix the problem before you use the overdraft so that you can actually repair the business, okay? So you've got to find out why you would need the overdraft. Where are you bleeding cash? Did you underquote? Are you being held out by, you know, is your collections behind and no one's paying you, which means you've got no money? You know, yada, yada, yada. There's a million things. Are you being ripped off? Is somebody siphoning money out of the account? There's a whole bunch of things you've got to look at before you would consider getting an overdraft. And then, like, if you're using it to fix a problem, make sure you fix the problem. Otherwise, if you use it for client acquisition, it's totally, totally fine. The other thing about managing cash flow, just a couple of little hints and tips. I personally manage mine on a daily basis. The first thing I do in the office in the morning is log on to banking, check everything. I think that's being a good steward. Check all the payments that went out, the payments that came in, and manage all of that. So I'm managing my cash flow on a daily basis. I think most of you would be really clever to run a 3-month rolling cash flow forecast. Just a basic Excel spreadsheet. All of the income that you're expecting, budget versus actual, all of the cost of goods that go with that, all of your general expenses, and then the cash balance at the end of the month, which carries forward. You should be running, and by the way, you can go and, you know, just Google cash flow forecast template, and there's 1,000 of them, and you can just download them and start putting your numbers in. But literally, like, you should be managing so that you can see that in 3 months' time, we're going to have a problem, or in 3 months' time, we're going to have a windfall, in which case we're going to invest it in X way. So by having that, you can really see forward potential problems, potential upsides, and it's smarter. See, if your business is cyclical, then really you need to be able to pitch. Like, if January is particularly bad, you need a cash flow so that you can start to see how bad as time goes on, so that you can start planning for it October, November, December. So that, you know, they're very easy to get hold of. They do take a little bit of time to maintain, but they will give you a bit of a crystal ball into the future to be able to manage your cash flow today. Because you can start saying no to some expenses or some purchases, knowing that you've got something coming up that you need to fill a hole. Solid question, but let me say, like, you need to learn to manage cash flow. Everybody does. As when business goes up and cash flow increases and you've got more money, it doesn't necessarily mean life's easier. There's also some traps that come with that. You need to be a good steward of the cash flow that's coming in and only use debt for good reasons, and don't use it when the business has got a problem. Great question. All right, word of the week. Back to Proverbs. Proverbs 3:9. Okay, one of my favorites, as they tend to be. And it goes like this: honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all of your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine. And there's we could spend hours on just that one scripture, pulling it apart. Wine, joy, you know, overflowing continually. It doesn't stop. The thing that I want to pick up, though, for the sake of this, is honor. How do we honor the Lord with our wealth? Okay, how do we do that? Go back to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy tells me that it is Him that gives us the ability to create wealth. So He gave us this ability. Okay, so when we get wealth, when we get money, when we get cash flow, when we get assets, it was because He put the ability inside of us, joined us on the journey to produce that outcome. How do we now honor the Lord with our wealth? See, it doesn't say honor the Lord with your wealth by giving 10% of everything that comes in. It doesn't say 5%, it doesn't say 20. It's fairly vague, and I think it's vague for a reason. How do you honor the Lord with your wealth? Well, I think it's quite simple to do. I think it's quite simple to do, but it's not a number and it's not a metric. The minute it's a number and a metric, then you have the ability to tick a box and tick yourself that I'm a good Christian when it comes to my money. And that's not what God is looking for, okay? How do you honor the Lord with your wealth? I think then you've got to make sure that the 100% of your wealth is sanctified. What do I mean by that? Available for the kingdom, okay? If 100% of your wealth is you hold it out in front of you and you hold it loosely and you say, Lord, show me how to steward all of this. Which bit do I get? Which bit do you want me to give away? Where do you want me to give it away? Lord, it's 100% yours. You've entrusted it to me to steward. Not 10% yours, 90% mine. It's 100% yours. You've entrusted me to steward this. I want to do with it what you want me to do with it. That is how you honor the Lord with your wealth. You honor Him because He gave you the ability to create it. You hold it out, you hold it loosely. The minute you hold your money and what you've got so tight, you can't receive any more. So you hold it loosely, you say, show me how to steward this wealth that you have got. That's how you honor Him, because you're putting Him first, you're putting Him as the creator of it all, and you are learning how to steward it according to what He wants you to do. Okay? So forget about whether it's mine, whether it's His. I did the hard work, He didn't. Like should I tithe on net, gross? Just hold everything you've got and say, it's all yours, Lord. I want to steward it. Show me which and how to divide this money out according to your will. And then you are honoring the process and you're honoring the God that gave you the ability to create it in the first place. Have a super week. I'll see you next week. Bye for now. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this show, why don't you subscribe by hitting the subscribe button, and then you'll get all the alerts of the future shows.